Hey guys, it's Chuck909. Wanted to give you guys a quick update as to how this was going along with the Atari Educational System decoding project. I hit a major milestone today in that I was able to stream data off the tape and see the raw undecoded data show up on screen. There's still a lot to do. There's a lot left to do, but I will take and show you what I have so far, starting here with the code. As we can see here, we have Woodson loaded up with Eclipse and all of our nifty stuff, and I'm using MATS as the assembler. I borrowed some bits and pieces from the cartridge, but used it as a guideline for writing my own code here. So essentially, we start off basically writing a whole series of initialized values, creating a display list, which is essentially a series of 8 lines of mode 2. The rest are blank, just big enough to show 256 characters at 32 characters long. We also basically set the DMA and everything accordingly so that the screen is narrow for 32 characters. Clear the console and set up the audio controls for all 4 audio channels appropriately. Now, once these registers were copied from a pokey dump of the educational software after it's initialized, but basically what we have here are a series of mark and space tones that correspond to the tones of the Educational System cartridge, and a few things set in audio control, which basically state that serial end timers need to run and when, etc., and to fire them appropriately. We then, of course, set IRQ enable to make sure that the serial inputs are primed and ready to go. Set up SK control also for a synchronous transmission. And finally, we set Pokey IRQ. We completely replace the IRQ handler that's part of the operating system with our own. That means no keyboard routines work everything, and right now the only thing implemented is just the serial input. No keyboard input is implemented currently. So with that, we sit here and we loop, of course, for a start key, which gives me enough time to insert a tape. Then we turn on the motor, and we basically just sit here and wait, because from this point on, the IRQ handler is going to fire every time that there's something ready to be read. Of course, standard IRQ procedure, save all of the registers so that you can pull them back out later. Ask the Pokey if serial data is ready. If so, then we go all the way down here. We prime IRQ in with serial input. Wait, and we look for we strobe and reset SK stat, as you're supposed to, as per the hardware manual. And if we don't have anything after this point, it could be a framing error, it could be an issue here. So if a framing error has happened, then we basically just exit out of the routine. Bam, 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 bam. And if not, and if we do have something here, we take what's in, we exclusive OR it with FF, which essentially flips all the bits of the incoming byte. Load 81, which I'm currently using as an index register for 0600, just so that it wraps around at 256 bytes, increments, and finally jumps all the way back to finish the interrupt, and the whole thing will repeat again the next time the next byte comes in, and so on and so on. So what does that leave us with? Well, of course, we have the display list here with mode 2 LMS 0600, mode 2 lines, then the blanks, and the jump back to the start of the display list. So what does that leave us? Well, let's find out. Let's go ahead and launch it. We're going to go ahead and we'll see here. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that you didn't hear the beep of the cassette tape. That's because the operating system isn't used for this at all. You're not going to hear the familiar cassette beep. You're not going to hear the key press, anything like that. It's just once the tape's loaded, it's just going to start streaming the second the data hits off the end here. Now I've gone in and set cassette to load data as audio. The SIO patch doesn't seem to matter, but we go ahead, cassette, load, and we load one of the tapes. And in this case, I'll just go ahead and load U.S. government just for the hell of it. So there we go. That's loaded into place. And with this, now we start. Now you'll see that there was some noise that happened on the leader there, believe it or not. That's, yeah, that happened. But now you'll start to see the data stream across, and soon you'll hear the voice.
The United States was once composed of 13 separate colonies, which belonged to Great Britain. The King of England, George III, and the British Parliament were the ruling powers over the 13 colonies. Colonists in America began to feel dissatisfied with British rule. They were taxed heavily, had no representatives in Parliament, and were often forced to let British soldiers stay in their homes.
The data is pretty well consistent here. I'm not interpreting anything at this point. So what you're seeing is the raw data that's coming in off the tape. Now, the method that I will use for decoding this for my own sake is I will basically just read 256 bytes and basically just do this until the next phase. So with that, I'll just cause a BRK with this, and with that, we basically have everything we need to do kind of a simple debugger rig. It's not perfect, but it will be good enough for me to be able to look at the data. We go back in again. We attach a cassette. And we basically start.
In this lesson.
So now we can go into the debugger, have a nice little look at the memory dump, and we can see the data as it's coming off the tape here. I still have to refine it a bit here, but now at least I have a starting point to start decoding this goofy thing. So that's pretty much it for my status here. We are really close, and now that I know how this part of it works, I'm going to start folding in more and more bits to interpret to see how they function and how they work appropriately as such. And through this, I will have enough information to be able to document every single facet of the Atari Educational System tapes. And this will be a major, major curation step forward for the Atari 8-bit community, because until now, none of this has been documented or even discussed. And this is probably one of the last major pieces that needs documenting for posterity. And with that, more to come. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys later. Thanks.